Dubé's.
Dylan Dubé. Yeah, pick Dylan Dubé. He can surprise you from time to time.
Where are Calgary playing, though?
They're playing.
Senators.
So that's not a bad matchup.
Okay. Maybe I'll do that. Alrighty. So, again, there's so many like good openings, stories to share.
What do you want to share?
Okay, well, I've got one.
Okay.
But I have to preface it, or maybe you want to tell the story. Well, no, I can tell the story. But I have to preface it that it's a friend of a kid that I know who happened to one day be asked to wash their dog.
Oh, this friend. That's right. I remember this story. It is 100% not a relation to us, this story. We want to be really clear. The person in the story,
friend, quote,
person in this story is in no way affiliated or genetically linked to you and I. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
So I'll tell my part of the story because mine is more random. I, trying to be the good Bob Vila inspired husband that I am lately, was working on a little DIY project in my own little world. And I was accosted. I got to be careful now because now I've set it up that it's weird. Anyways,
it wasn't anybody that you know.
I know. So the three girls came into the room to talk to me about this thing that happened to someone else, not related to us.
5 minutes before.
Essentially, we got to drop it. So I was asked to smell the dog.
Yeah.
And as much as you, dear listener, might think that that's a strange request, it's really not that odd in this household to be randomly asked to smell something, dog or otherwise. So I leaned in and smelled. I'm like, man, that smells really familiar. I know that smells
so good. She normally, because she had a bath. We'll give her that. Normally does not smell that good even after a bath.
Yeah. So smells amazing. And I'm like, but I can't place the smell. What is that smell? I know that smell.
You got it right away.
Yeah. And then it dawned on me, it smelled a lot like the after shower spray that I use in our bathroom to keep lime scale and calcium at bay, like the good house husband I am. And as soon as that realization hit, I looked at the audience in front of me and all of them are like, yep. And it turns out that in our quest to keep the dogs clean, one of our children's friends who won't be named used the shower cleaner on the dog thinking it was shampoo, even though there was a bottle of shampoo with a picture of a dog on the front of it in the bathroom. They were told
predominantly, like the minute you walk into the bathroom, you can see the dog shampoo.
So we promised we wouldn't relay this story on the podcast, and we're obviously lying. We lied.
I was told I could say it if it was a friend of a kid or something like someone.
So you did, but that fell apart quickly. So yeah, the dog still smells great.
Yeah.
Still, because normally the kids will come along and they'll cuddle one of the dogs and they'll go, "Oh, you smell like dad," because of like the beard balm or my cologne or whatever it is. That's usually the only time the dogs get compliments. She'll walk by me now, this dog, and she smells like a flower garden. She is fantastic to walk behind right now. Clueless, though. Has no idea that she was sprayed, thankfully, with a non-chemical one. Like, God, am I ever happy we didn't pick the harsh stuff. Like, imagine if she got sprayed with scrubbing bubbles or like some Clorox bleach or something. Poor dog.
We did make our child do research to see how toxic it was. And the company said we made it with animals in mind. If they're covered, just rinse it off. And she did rinse it off. She had
rinsed it. So everything's fine. The dog is fine. Her coat is so shiny and she's so well odored that it's just, but honestly, this friend of our children's just, it's mind-boggling.
Those moments and it's just like those moments of realization And well, but then she was blaming, well, you told me to spray. I'm like, yeah, the shower head, like turn off the water and spray the shower head. But she took it as spray bottle. So she didn't look at the dog shampoo. She was looking for a spray bottle.
And here's the thing though, she did like when she explained it to me, I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of understand how you'd get to that point. And the spray bottle itself is pretty nondescript. Like it's just a clear bottle
Yeah.
that, you know, that if you didn't know what it was, you wouldn't really know what it was for. Even though I've bought them all the same stuff for their own showers that apparently have never been
But
used.
here's the other thing. She had to go looking for that spray bottle. It wasn't just magically there next to the shampoo.
Nope.
Like the dog shampoo was there in the bathroom, exactly where she needed
Yeah.
it, predominantly right there.
I'm trying to paint a better picture here. Like you're using that bus and backing it up over right now. And I'm trying to be like, but she did. Hey, let's look at the silver lining. The dog got cleaned.
Yep.
And that in itself is a victory. So how the dog got cleaned, potato, potato.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it was yeah. So that's this week. Lots going on. There's something else I was gonna say too, but I can't remember anymore. That's okay.
We took the kids go-karting. That turned out to be a good time.
Oh yeah. I'm the leader. I'm the top 10 of the week.
Again, though, weight to power ratio. If I was the same size as you, I think my times are considerably better than yours. But you're working with a big advantage. A, you're crazy. B, behind the wheel, I mean. B, you don't understand physics well enough to know what you're doing. So you just kind of get in on it. And it just magically.
I understand how to follow the line and when to turn and I just don't take my foot off the gas ever. I never use my brake. Look at all those monkeys who are using brakes all the time.
They were not gifted drivers.
Am I not supposed to say monkeys?
I don't know. Are you not supposed to?
Well, the way you looked at me,
I didn't.
You said that.
We could just move on. We could
Okay.
just move on.
There was a lot of people using brakes. I don't understand. I didn't ever use a brake. I actually had my foot completely off anywhere where it could even reach the brake.
Again, another advantage. Go-karts are built for people your size, not my size. So my foot was constantly in some weird position. At one point, my foot was touching the wheel as I was driving, and I like the tire, not like Westy. Right. So that wasn't great because I'm trying to keep it off the brake, and I'm like, oh, that's the tire. Oh, that's the brake. So it was kind of, but I'm okay with my times. I was pretty. I was driving good. I was driving good.
That's good. All righty. So today's topic. I don't have all my stats with me, but that's okay.
It's canine health and how to keep them clean. Let's go.
Don't use shower cleaner.
Yeah.
It's tip number 1.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So it actually kind of stems from the fact that, we create this world. Well, just, conversations that we've had with our own family members who just want to tell us about the doom and gloom all the time, right? And you were kind of evading some of those conversations. You're like, I don't need to hear about that. But everybody wants to tell us, and it's surrounded 24/7. We are hearing all of the tragedies of the universe all around the globe all the time.
And if we were to believe what's being thrown at us, if I looked out the window right now, it would just be apocalyptic.
Yeah. And unfortunately, listeners, this is the second time we were way more thorough.
To keep pulling the curtain back.
Way more thorough about this introduction. We're just going to sort of jump into it. But for some reason, it just wasn't recording. We spent a whole hour.
No, but we can revisit it. So to expand on what you're saying, it's come to the forefront recently because and I know you've always kind of subscribed to this because you wouldn't know a news channel if it literally drove over you. You'd be like, what was that? I'd be like, it's a news van. What's news? And I'd be like, okay, I got to tell you what news is. But I've made the conscious decision, and we've talked about it before, where I didn't want the inundation of negativity. That's why I left social media. I just get tired of it. Wasn't serving a purpose. Wasn't enriching my life. And news, I find, is the same. It's all negative. It's all awful. It's all I'm laughing because I swore I wouldn't say this, but it's really I'm soapboxing because it's a distraction. It's intended to distract us from what we need to do, which is to take good care of ourselves, take good care of the family, all of that. And I just don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
And so I can choose, and you can choose to not not ingest or take in all of that stuff online or from TV or from radio or whatever. But what got us on the soapbox was, yes, there was multiple in the span of a week instances of various people, and I will not shame them, but of a certain demographic much higher in age than ours, that just dove right into some horrific stories. And I normally I'd be like, oh yeah, I didn't hear about that. I try to move on. But I was really firm in that I don't want to hear this.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to hear this at all. And I felt bad because when I first did it, when we were all out and do whatever, I felt bad that I stepped over some Canadian niceness line by doing that. But at the end of it, I'm like, no, I really didn't want to hear about it. And a few days later, it came up again when I was visiting this person of higher age at their house. And I clarified even further why I didn't want to do it. And it was really interesting to see them trying to reconcile wanting to tell me what they had consumed with me having zero interest in ever hearing it, right? And it just it I'll get to what we're trying to get to here in a second, but that's just the context of what we've been talking about in terms of I don't want to hear it because it doesn't enrich my life, but at the same time, is it really as bad as what it's being portrayed to be? And I think that's the distractionary piece. I don't think it is, right? So how do you live with that if you don't want to be in that state of mind all the time?
Yeah. And that one particular story I unfortunately had to learn about because I was doing a presentation in PEI and there was a tragedy in PEI that happened. So I felt that I needed to be informed. But the problem is, I mean, it is 24/7. Our brains are built to look out for danger and for threats.
Yep.
That's the whole, like the strongest part of our brain is to constantly look out for threats. That's what it's built to do.
I just heard a great way of framing it. Sorry to chime in, but it said someone's therapist told them that your brain is designed to keep you alive. It's not designed to make you feel good.
Exactly.
Right. And so it feeds right into that, right?
And I say that all the time.
Yeah.
Our brains are built to be anxious and depressed. Yeah. And so it does feed into it. That's what the news is. And we've talked about, the headlines. If it bleeds, it leads. If it bleeds, it leads. And news reporters and news channels and stations will admit, they might get something like, if they were to share the truth, it would be, hey, there's this toy that's got this paint. It tastes disgusting. So the chance if your kid puts it in their mouth, they're probably going to spit it out immediately. Right. Yeah. So even if they put it in their mouth, even if they held it in their mouth for 10 seconds, not a big deal. They're not going to want to because it tastes disgusting. So just watch out for it. Right. But it's not scary enough. And they'll even say they go through and sort stories. Is this scary enough to even show on air? And if it's not, get rid of it. Or how do we make it scary? So in that example with the toy, well, that's not scary. Like, whatever. No, they have to make it, oh my gosh, big toy recall. Your child is going to die if they look at it, right? Like that's what they do. And so we've created this world where we believe the world is so much more dangerous than now. We've talked about how we're the last, the feral generation where we could run amok, and everyone talks about, well, that was different. The world was so different. It was safer. Our children are actually safer now than they ever were before, well, since the 50s. Mm-hmm. Crime against children, crime against people have gone down significantly. There was a peak in the early 90s, but it's dropped down. I mean, we were probably at the height of danger when we were kids.
And if we're being honest, we were doing it to ourselves, 100%.
Yeah. Well, I remember, hitchhiking through New Zealand and Australia, and there was a serial killer picking up hitchhiking girls, right? Like, it's just...
But not you, not old roll the dice Zenko, hey? You're just like, let's get that thumb out there and see what happens.
Oh, I didn't know that there was a serial. That's the problem. I don't know. But anyway, but we say, oh, that's, great back then. The world has changed so much. It hasn't. It really, really hasn't. And so, one of the things that we teach our kids that I want to actually throw out there that maybe isn't a great lesson is stranger danger and not talking to strangers. Mm-hmm. So, what do you think about that?
As a person that's never had this conversation before and has never recorded this conversation before, I'm just going to go off the cuff here. It's come around before where we talked a long, long time ago about not framing things in a way that's fear-based, right? Like if you do something wrong, the police are going to come get you, is not the way you frame it, because then what you're doing is you're creating a false interpretation of the relationship, and kids won't go to cops when they need to.
Police officer. That's the PC way of saying it.
What's wrong with cop?
Yeah, no, that it's offensive. And
To who?
police officers, just like a police force is offensive. You say police service. Come on now.
I'm, dear listener, I am sitting here with my mouth open, aghast at being corrected for calling something a cop.
Okay, go ahead.
I always just went escalated. So anyways, a police officer, so I would subscribe to the same thing with the stranger danger thing, which is it's not about, like, inherently people are good.
Yep.
Right?
And that's what we need to teach our kids.
For the most part.
And the world is safe.
The world is safe. People are good, but you need to be engaged in your situation to read it and determine what your comfort level is and how you want to interact with it. I think is a better lesson, because we've tried to do that, right? When the kids were little, we would send them to go talk to the waitress, right? The most terrifying person in the restaurant, go talk to them and ask them if you want ketchup. I'm not going to go get it. So if you want it, go talk to them.
Or for containers to pack up with you.
Yeah, you want your to-go container? Go get it. Well, can you? No, I can't. I'm mute all of a sudden. You got to go do it. It's the same principle, which is the kids won't understand how to interact in that situation if you don't present it to them in a way that they can figure it out for themselves. No different than our kids are brutal at talking on the telephone. Brutal. Like, I would almost prefer they didn't talk than have to listen to how they talk on the phone, because it is painful. But I realize we haven't presented them with the way to do it because it was just so inherent in the way we grew up that we learned how to talk and communicate on the phone as a normal form of communication. It was an extension of our face-to-face communication because it was the only way we could communicate. Well, that you remove that, they have face-to-face or they have text-based, and you lose the nuance of being able to communicate in the same manner over a phone.
I've literally watched one of them pick it rung on our end.
Yeah.
They picked it up, did not say anything. So nobody on the other side said anything, and they immediately hung up. And I'm like, who was it? Well, I don't know. They weren't saying anything. I'm like, well, you didn't say hello. You need to prompt the conversation.
Dude, I watched one of them, the non-dog washing one. I watched literally call the bank.
Mine was the dog washing one who just picked it up and immediately hung it up.
The one that didn't wash dogs in this manner was on with the bank. Called the bank.
Yeah.
Had an interaction, and eventually she called a store about a gift card and realized she'd given the wrong gift card number. So I'm going to talk through what I think a normal phone trained person would do, which was, oh crap, I'm so sorry, I gave you the wrong number. Hang on. You know what? I'm silly. I forgot I gave you the wrong. I'm sorry to waste your time. See you later. That's a normal way to end it.
Or give me a second.
Yeah, let me see if I can find one. Yeah. No, what they did, oh my God, click. Literally hung up on this poor person because they gave the wrong phone number. Like, what do you think they were going to do to you? Well, I'm like, okay, so obviously we need to work on that. Like, we need to work on other things, right? And so that would be the thing. I don't think it's stranger danger. I think it's more learn to read the situation and give them opportunities to figure out what that situation actually is or is not. Because it's interesting, because you're right. Kids are safer today, and you have to recognize, because of some of the things that have been put into place to keep them safer.
Well,
right. I'm not talking crime. I'm sure
a lot of crime, most of the crime now is online.
There you go.
Take
away their phone and they're safe.
Well, and I mean, because of cell phones, there's downsides but everybody's got a cell phone.
Yeah. So they're either going to videotape you and put it on Won't Start Hip Hop, or they're going to call for help.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't disagree that they're all safer. I think, and they're safer for a lot of reasons, right? They're safer because there's been different policies put into place by police services. There's a drop in certain crime rates, all of this sort of stuff. I just read a week or so ago that the crime rate in the United States is the lowest it's been in decades. And with the only crime that's seen an increase is car theft, which to me is hilarious because you're basically saying that out of all the crimes that could occur, people are now using car theft as a means most likely to survive.
Yeah.
Right. So I bet if you saw the ranking, all the crimes that have gone up, car theft, probably theft in general of food and other items and whatever to survive. And then all the violent stuff has likely gone down because a lot of the attention's put on that. And to your point, there's not as many opportunities to get away with it. Right. So I think that's the thing to kind of to look at is we've created a safer world, but we take it too far by then over policing every aspect of it, right? The outside, it can be a dangerous place if you're not aware of where you are, right? Like we joke around about it, but that time we were doing the scavenger hunt downtown or whatever, looking for the art things, literally we turned the corner into what was obviously a drug deal happening in a back alley and it was dark and all of us went, well, we shouldn't be here. And we left, right?
Except for me. I'm like, it's fine. It's fine.
We gotta go down the other end of this alley. We should just go.
The guy is cool. Yeah, he's wearing a balaclava, but whatever. He's cold.
Yeah, it's just chilly out and he's got drugs. Okay, cool. But we knew that wasn't the situation to be in, so we removed ourselves from it, right? And so that to me is the more important lesson. And it just, but we as parents, we as adults, let's be honest, as anybody in a professional atmosphere, most rules and stuff that are being put into place aren't being put into place for safety. They're being put into place because the entity that's putting it into place doesn't want to get sued or be held accountable.
Totally.
So by account, it's a safer process because there's less opportunity because someone doesn't want to deal with it. When it really should be, don't be an idiot and fall off the playground.
Yeah.
It's not the playground's fault that you don't understand gravity. It's your fault for not managing it properly. But instead, it's that playground is unsafe because my kid could get hurt. Well, yeah.
And that's just it. I mean, the liability piece, it drives me bonkers that kids can't do like slide down their butts in the snow.
Yeah.
Like it's their own fault. Good natural consequence if you forgot to put your ski pants on and do that, and you've got a wet butt for the afternoon.
Have you, before we move on here, have you seen this slide? Have I mentioned this before of the cop in, I think, Boston?
Police officer in Boston, yes.
The police service member and constable officer in Boston that went down a slide that was designed so poorly, he knocked himself out.
Oh my gosh.
It's hands down one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Sorry to the dude that got the concussion, but literally, I don't know if he was called to it because someone complained or they just happened to be on patrol and he was a jacknut and ran up there to drive.
That'd be me.
But he comes down at such a velocity that when he takes the corner, he smashes his head off of it and just basically flings onto the playground thing. I'm like, okay, that's a liability issue. But at the same time, after having seen that, who's going to go on that slide?
Yeah.
Probably nobody, because word's going to get around. That's the killer slide.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh man, there's so many things that I want to say. I can't even remember. There's just so much. But I mean, it all, the whole thing with stranger danger, there's so much buts and gray areas all the time. It's just so confusing for kids. Like, why can you talk to the teller? Well, yeah, but because they're helping, they're a service, they're a community member. But it just becomes so gray. And it's just, no, people are good. Learn how to say hello. Learn, you just don't walk away with the stranger. You can talk to them, you can be friendly, right? But you're not going to walk away with them. You're not going to accept anything, or, you can make those black and white rules very concretely, very explicitly.
Yeah. But like puppies don't live in a van. Don't go look at them. Yeah. Simple as that.
Yeah. You can say, I'd love to see your puppy if you can bring them to the park, right?
Or let me get my mom and she'll drive me to see the puppies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those types of things. But because I worry, just to the point with the police officers, if they're scared of police officers and not turning, same thing. I've actually had a kid who was lost from school in the middle of winter. Lots of opportunities, couples, and usually, grandparent type people. How can I guess there could be grandparents that are dodgy out there, but not saying anything. It would have taken him 2 seconds to say, I am lost. Can you help me? But because they were strangers, he never did. And then, gets frostbitten and now police are called and it turns into this big thing when he could have just said, can you help me? And yeah, sure, kiddo, here you go. I'll walk you the 2 blocks or whatever it is, right? We're actually creating more danger. And I think this apathy of the world. Now, a lot of this started with like in the 80s, with the Adam Walsh, who was kidnapped, right? And so then his father started America's Most Wanted, and their organization started. This is where it all started getting scary for parents,
Yeah.
was the missing kids on the milk cartons,
Yeah.
right? And that's where it all started. But when we look at those people, nobody was really kidnapped by a stranger. Most of them were runaways or they were kidnapped by a family member.
Yeah.
And if we look at the stats, it's the chances of your child being kidnapped is 0.00007. You have 400 times, they're 400 times more likely to die in a fatal car accident. So you better not drive. If you're scared of them talking to dangers and getting kidnapped, you probably shouldn't drive with your
Yeah.
child because the chances of them dying are 400 times more likely. There's 70.
600 times more likely after what I saw you do at speeders today. Just saying.
Yes, my children probably should not be driving with me. I am an aggressive driver. 70 more times more likely to drown, to die by drowning. So you better not let them go swimming. If we're going to play that game,
Yeah.
it was something like if you were to leave them outside unattended, you looking at those odds, how long would it take for them to be abducted? And it was something like 700,000 years for them to actually be abducted by a stranger who doesn't know them.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's about, no, we want that people are good. People can be helpful, right?
Yeah.
We want to be compassionate. And I mean, we do things and have done things all the time, even with, people who don't have homes. I don't know what the PC term is anymore. I can't remember. Displaced homes or something like that.
Sorry. Homeless people are not homeless people anymore?
Yeah, it's something else. I can't remember exactly.
Come on. This whole episode is just a joke for you to try and rile me up.
It's not. It's not. But anyways, it's like we are compassionate and we will, help support them. And I mean, because there's so many cool people out there, right? And I think that that's really important that we ease up. The world isn't that dangerous. And we need children to be able to actually, you know what? You introduced me to the Netflix show. Why don't you share the Netflix show, the Japanese
Oh,
kiddos?
yeah. So there's a show from Japan where the entire premise is they take toddlers, like barely walking human beings. They give them a flag, they give them a backpack, I'm assuming with snacks in it, and they give them instructions on what they need, what task they need to complete. And it's usually you need to go to a store. And in itself, it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. These kids are literally leaving their parents at their house, and there's footage of them waving to their parents in the apartment as they leave.
One of them is 2 years old.
Yeah, and
Walks a mile.
walks a mile. Other ones have to get on buses and get there. And
All of them are toddlers.
all of them are toddlers. And the goal is, can they do it? Can they get there and get back, or get there and get what they need to? And every time they do ask for help, someone helps them. They're like, yeah, sure. What do you need? Right. And helps them on it. It is, first of all,
Strangers.
it is strangers. First of all, it is one of the cutest things in the world to see these kids with their flags just wandering through Japan, getting their stuff.
Down busy roads, like
Yeah.
busy highways, walking a mile to
Yeah.
a store. Mhm.
Because part of the disservice we do to kids these days is we take away their need to understand the world around them because it's so safe, right? Like, I've watched my kids and went, they're going to get hit by a car because they have no idea. They're just following me. They know I'm in front of them and they know I'm walking. But if I did something unexpected, one of them's walking in front of a car because they're really not paying attention. And that, I think, is the bigger lesson: is how do you teach your kids to pay attention, right?
And that's it.
And it's literally what's going on around you. How are you interacting with it, and do you need help interacting with it? And if it goes beyond that, where you need assistance and someone's not around to assist you, how do you find that assistance? Do you call me? Do you ask a stranger? How do you do those things? That's what's currently not happening, right? And all these shows that are built about all the murderers and all these true crime, all they do is they feed this narrative that it's a crazy, dangerous world and there's nut jobs out there, and there are. But the chances of you running into that one serial killer that lives in a trailer park in like Western Georgia is pretty slim. You got a better chance of meeting some old person with a negative opinion about everybody else they're interacting when you go to Sobeys, right?
Mm.
When you go to the grocery store, that's more likely what you're going to run into in the run of a day. That's a negative experience.
Yeah. And I love it because, one of the things is there was a time in our lifetime where 3-year-olds was the accepted age to be able to give them money and run to the bakery and get a loaf of bread
Yep.
and come home,
Yep.
and 3 was expected age. And if you think we have been alive for, hundreds of thousands of years, life expectancy wasn't very old. So
Yeah.
think small children and teenagers have survived us and brought us to where we are.
Yeah.
And we got to give them more of that because it's quite astonishing because, we bubble wrap them too much and they don't know how to talk on the phone. They don't know how to wash a dog. They don't know.
But I mean, we just had a reason, like we got to a stage with Maya where I wasn't sure how to react to her being able to go doing whatever she wants. But she came back a few weeks ago after hanging with a friend. I'm like, oh, what'd you guys do today? Well, somehow we ended up near the airport. The airport is not close to our house, but they were just cruising around. They were talking, they were listening to music, they were in the car, they drove around, and they ended up on the other side of town. I know people, I know parents that would have lost their mind at that. Why didn't you tell me? You can't do that. That's too far. My first thought was, yeah, those were some of my favorite nights, was just cruising around.
I drove to BC one day just for the heck of going to BC,
You
getting a
drove to the
picture.
States and were in the car. I mean,
That's true. That's true.
you're probably not the bar to set. But you're right. Like do I think that I would have wanted her first trip in the car on her own to be to BC? No. Do I think she's getting the experience that I'd be okay with it now? Yeah, probably. She's been driving in a lot of different conditions. She's proven herself to be pretty consistently okay. Yeah, sure. Go do your thing. And I think that to me is the more important lesson is, do I think you should throw your kid in with the sharks? No, but maybe help ease them in a cage in the water so they can see the sharks and understand it before they make the decision on how they want to do it going forward.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that's the big piece here. Again, I have so many thoughts while you're talking, and I always forget when it's my turn to talk. But okay, so one thing I was going to say was just going to Southeast Asia. I took Willow, and at the time she was younger, and everyone was so, how can you go? Just you and Willow? Aren't you terrified? I'm like, what? Like, just everyone has this idea of what, two, like the mom and one daughter would be traveling. But on that note, and I think it's good. And there are lots of places that will take the kids into downtown area. We'll go to the museum. And now, kids, you've got 2 hours. And these are elementary kids. Now we've got 2 hours, kiddos. Be back here at 3.
Yeah.
And you can go wander around. So on that note, we have a trip coming up to New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And Maya's bringing a friend. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on saying, hey, kiddos, meet back here at 3. You got a couple hours.
I think there's two things that need to be considered with that. One, I'd want to see how they do that on their own in a more familiar place. And I won't talk about safety or not, because whatever, New Orleans is New Orleans. I know that these two have been downtown on their own here and been okay, right? And so I think they'd be able to manage that. I do, however, think that this needs special consideration because it's not just our kid. Yeah. I think there's conversation that would need to happen to find the comfort level of the other parents, and then what parameters they would be comfortable with. Because I know the friend has gone traveling to the States for sports and different things. So I'm sure there's a considerable amount of ability there. Do I think we should just go down and let them wander in Bourbon Street during Mardi Gras? Probably not. Probably not, right? But do I think that there's an opportunity for us to give them a bit of freedom? Yeah, maybe, right? Like, but we need to figure out what that looks like in the context of what we're doing and the comfort level of the parents who are entrusting us with their kid.
Yeah. Hey, I want to run down to that beignet place, right? That's down. Yeah. Okay, cool. We'll meet you there in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll be following behind you. Keep your phone handy. If something comes up, ping me, right? Yeah. See you later.
And that's just it. If we didn't have somebody else's kid, I would be probably maybe not as cautious. I mean, New Zealand, whatever. If they want to take the afternoon and go check out Wellington, like, see you later.
What they don't understand, though, is I'm going to secretly stash one of those little air tags on each one of them, and then I don't care. They can do whatever they want. Oh, look. That one, their murdered body has been put in the bay. I can tell by the air tag. Let's go pick them up.
That's a whole other thing. Just the tracking apps and devices. Like Maya was telling me, her friends are 17, 18 years old. And I asked her the other day if they're tracked. And she's like, yeah, every single one of them. Because they'll say, I can't go because my parents are tracking me. I'm like, what? I didn't even know there was such a thing.
But you did. Do you know how I know you know?
Oh,
Your mom tracks your dad everywhere. She knows where your dad is to within 2 feet
oh
of where
yeah,
that man is standing.
I guess.
It's hilarious.
Oh
It's
yeah, I
hilarious.
guess.
I don't think she cares about his safety. I think she just needs to understand where he is in case she needs him to run an errand.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's just mind-boggling. If you are tracking your kids, you just got to stop doing it.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know.
that's on you. That's not to put it too bluntly. That's your problem.
Mhm.
Your kids will never be self-sufficient enough. If you're hearing this and you're getting riled up because we're telling you this, you're also the parent that would call your kid, your adult kid's work to complain about the treatment that your kid is getting at their job instead of teaching them how to deal with it themselves.
Mhm.
So take that in, process it and sit with it for a while. And then on the other end of it, come out a better parent and let your kids go do their own things. Teach them how not to make a catastrophic mistake, but then let them go make mistakes because that's the only way they're going to learn. Otherwise, you're going to be 85 years old and wondering why your 60-year-old kid is still useless living in your house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boom.
Got it.
That's a slap of parenting realism right there.
I remember one of the things with the opening, maybe we can end on it.
Oh.
Just following up from last week's episode where there was an epic feedback failure. We had round 2 with our youngest and we used some of the lessons and it went really well. We established the, hey, after every game, we're going to give feedback. We're all going to talk about, and you get to go first, the 3 things that you did well and 1 thing or more that you could work on. And initially there was some pushback, but then it was like, no, these are the 3 things. And actually she came with 3 things that I only said 1 thing, but 3 things that she could work on. And then she was open to any feedback that we gave her too.
And it was more of a discussion then. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we're not pointing fingers at which parent didn't do a good job the first round. It wasn't me.
It was 100% you, because it even says it in the show notes. Yeah. Failure.
You put it in there as a failure. It was.
No, it's a learning opportunity.
Whatever. But it was interesting because it is possible. It does put me back firmly in the lead of Parent of the Year. Like I'm killing it. I'm just killing it. We're a handful of time into the new year and I'm just nailing it. Like I don't even know how I can improve for the rest of this year.
Maybe modeling humility. That would probably be good.
That sounds like loser talk. No kidding. I'm just kidding. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Adios.